What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, Panashe Kimberley. I am taking this video while I'm out and about with my husband, but he's busy. He's just busy. Let me show you what he's doing. So he's with the boys. There he is, my sweet dark chocolate. He is with the boys over there. We are at Old Hararians and we are setting up the stage, or we're just looking. I'm just spectating about the stage. And I've been meaning to start again with my YouTube videos. And I realized that why do I keep postponing? Like, I've been postponing since the year began. I don't know. I have these issues. I think we'll deal with them together, because you guys are my therapists and I am your storyteller. You tell me what's wrong. Anyway, so I just said, you know what? If I don't start today, I'm never gonna do this. So let's just do it, wherever we find time, because the issue is I'm never sitting down. So wherever I do get a chance to sit down, that's the new promise I made to myself. Whenever I do get the chance to sit down, just sit down and make a damn video. Anyway, yeah. So today I'm going to ask you a question, but then I'm also going to tell you stories. And yeah, let's begin. Okay, so it's really difficult to use my hand as a tripod because I'm holding my camera in my hand and it's really just frustrating. But let's be brave about this, okay? So yeah, I'm sitting here at the terrace. Nice background, nice view. I don't even want to go any further. But anyway, I like it. And it's showing you my true skin, I think I need a facial. Please recommend a good spa service so that I can go and get a facial. Somebody somebody who'll do a good job on my face. But anyway, I want to tell you a story, but I'm going to ask you a question. When we were younger, as Zimbabwean kids, right? Our parents, well, my parents, and I don't know how many other parents of whoever's watching used to do this, but my mom, because I grew up with a single parent, my mom used to beat me up like corporal punishment. It wasn't like random haphazard beating. It's got no meaning. Whenever I would do something wrong, my mom would tell me that she's upset with what I've done, and then she would ask me to go into the garden and get myself a shamu from any tree that I felt was appropriate for the punishment of the day. So we had so many trees in our backyard. We had an apple tree, we had muhabros, a mulberry tree, we had a guava tree, but those really, we also had a guava tree. And then I think we had another tree, but I forgot what it's called. It was just, they were all shamu-worthy trees, like you could get a good beating out of these little tree branches. So she'd tell me, go and get yourself a tree branch and come to the bedroom and sit down. So upon finding the perfect shamu, and by the way, I sampled all of the types of shamu that you can find. Like, I've experimented with the thick branches because I thought if it's thick, it will break easier. The thick branches will break on your skin and leave marks. The thin branches are like, those are little devils because they don't break and they're so sharp and so painful. Like, oh. Anyway, in other words, I'm just saying I've had enough beatings to sample all the sizes of shamus. So she would then tell me to come sit down in the bedroom, and she would sit on the bed and I'd sit on the floor. I'd put the shamu next to her, or I would hold it depending on the mood of the day. And when I'm sat and she closed the door and everything, she would look me in the eye and say, why do you think I'm going to beat you up today? And I would tell her what I think I have done wrong. And if I get it wrong, she will correct me that, no, what you have done wrong is this. And now that we have established what I've done wrong, she will go on and then tell me, so I don't like this behavior because it will do this, that. Then you're like, okay, mommy, I'm sorry. And you think I'm sorry will do the trick, but no, you'll still get beaten up. So I had my fair share of beatings, and that was the technique that she used to use. She never kind of used to just beat you up for no reason. So now that I'm grown and I'm married and I'm looking at the world and how the world is structuring parenthood, I am becoming very skeptical, because there are a lot of people who are like, no, corporal punishment, don't beat up the children. And then I look at the children that have never been beaten in their lives, and you can just tell this person was never beaten day in their life, and that behavior shows. You can tell that this person has never been beaten up. Their parents never used to punish them when they were kids. And that's annoying, and I don't want my kids to be like that. But with this 21st century parenting, yeah, it's I don't know. I'm confused. I don't know, like, should I follow my mom's footsteps and tell my children when they've done wrong? And at what age is it even appropriate to begin to beat up a child? When is it appropriate to begin punishment with a child? I don't know. I'm just thinking, this is just me thinking ahead, because I know I'm going to be a mom one day, and I just overthink. Overthinkers, we need to have everything in place before things even begin to happen, before we even have the baby. Anyway, so here's a short story. You might be wondering what exactly I used to do as a kid that resulted in me getting these types of corporal punishments. So let me give you a short story. I was about 10 years old, 11, and my mom had taken my sister to the scan. So at the time, we used to stay with my cousin. My cousin at the time had come from her grandmother's house. Her grandmother used to stay in a village called Sabi Drift. I don't know if you know the place. Kwasave. I don't know. I'll just put a map somewhere to just show you where it is, but that area. So my cousin had come over, and we were now staying together because she was preparing to go to the UK, where she is now, and she was going to stay with her mom because her mom had been staying in the UK and she was now inviting her kid. So anyway, it was me and my cousin. It was the two of us, and we were in the house, right? Mom was gone and was gone a while. She had just gone for some errand with my sister, my younger sister, because she couldn't leave my sister with us sometimes. She would just, anyway, I don't know, but it was just the two of us. So when we were the two of us, we eventually got bored, because, side note, the house I grew up in Highlands, in an area called Sloan Square in Highlands. And at the time we used to stay there, the house that we lived in didn't have electricity. So for my whole childhood, we used to live in a house that didn't have electricity. It was a fully furnished, fully functioning house. It even had plugs and switches, but there was no electricity. Like, nobody had, I think the landlord at the time hadn't pulled electricity to come over. And we stayed there for like 8 years. And the whole 8 years, there was no electricity. So anyway, we got bored because, you can do so much. I had lots of toys as a kid, but you can do so much with toys and books and whatever else entertainment that you're left with. And by the way, my mom had a strict rule: do not get out of the house. Like, my mom would leave us in the house with all the toys and everything and books that we had, and she would lock the door herself from the outside, so we could never go outside. At the time, other than us staying at the house in the staff quarters, the gardener and his wife and his brother used to stay there. So because we were two girls, my mom didn't want us to be interacting with the gardener or his brother, and just for girl safety at a young age. So she was very strict about that. Slightly paranoid. I get why now that I'm older. But anyway, so we were locked inside the house, and we got bored. We wanted to go outside to play in the yard, but we couldn't, blah blah blah. And we then decided, you know what, let's go and give our Barbies a bath. So we took a few Barbie dolls, put them in the bath, right, and washed our Barbie dolls. So at the time, the gardener who used to stay with us, I don't know why, I really don't get it, but he used to bath behind our house, like right outside my mom's window. But you know how in a main bedroom, and this main bedroom had two different windows, he used to bath like in the middle, right, like in the wall between the two windows. So there's a window here, there's a window here, and then there's a wall here. So he used to bath outside, but kunze kwe window. So ukataisa nepa window, if you look from a certain angle, you would see him bathing partially, but it's you're seeing somebody bathing. So we knew this guy was bathing. On this particular day, we were not interested in peeking, and mind you, I had gotten beaten up for peeking one day. My mom was so annoyed by the practice, but their staff quarters was a cabin, a wooden cabin, and they didn't have a bathroom there. But I know there are so many things that are wrong about that arrangement, and I get why you are angry when you're hearing this, but that was the situation we were in. So this guy used to take his bath outside of the bed, the bedroom on the other side, you know, outside, but kuside kwespe, and it was the furthest side. Anyway, I can't describe this house to you in enough time. So yeah, just know that he was behind the wall, but kuside bedroom, outside. He was bathing outside, just outside, just behind the wall. That's where he used to bath. I never saw his wife bathing there, but he used to bath there. I don't know why. So we back to the story. Me and my cousin, we are busy with washing our dolls, and then we hear this guy going to bath, and we're like, oh, he's going to bath. And I didn't want to go and peep, you know, perfect time to peep, but no, I decided not to go and peep because I had been beaten up about it. And once you get beaten up once, you don't do that shit again, because you don't want it you don't want that to happen to you again. I'm like, okay. We continue with our dolls, and then we know, like, at some point we knew that he was done bathing. So that's when the mischief came. So we went to the bathroom window, and then we started calling him. So let's just call him, for the sake of privacy and people, let's just call him Sekuru. So we went to the window and we were, Sekuru, Sekuru, and guess what we were holding in our hands? Naked Barbie dolls. Undressed Barbie dolls. And we were saying, Sekuru, Sekuru, I don't know, it was my cousin's idea. This wasn't my idea. I was a naughty kid, but this wasn't my idea. So each one of us were waving a naked Barbie doll. we were like squeezing. We were, you know how bathroom windows are, and we were just hands outside, you know, our little Barbie dolls were through the bagla bar, and we were waving. And then this guy actually passes and he's laughing and he's like, and guess who timeously passes, like 5 seconds after the gardener passes by? Guess who also passes by? My mom. So now my mom gets to the window and she looks at us, and you can tell that we're in trouble because she just passes through the window like. And my mom had this thing where when she's angry she would say and when my mom says you know you are in trouble. It doesn't matter how light it is or how light you think it is. When my mom said just know you are in deep trouble. And that's what she said. She passed by the window like goodness. We were beaten well that day. We were well beaten. On this particular day, she didn't have to sit us down because we already knew what we had done wrong, and she didn't need to explain. She just said, why are you provoking him like that? do you know what happens when you provoke somebody like that? And I said, no, I don't know. And she says, one day you will understand why waving a naked Barbie doll at a grown man is a bad idea. Today, my God, we were beaten. We were beaten, and not with a shamu, with a belt. She had this leather belt. You know, there's always the leather belt. As a single parent, she found a way to put levels to the beatings. You know, there's the light beatings where you get the mugoti and like kata, you know, and you're like, oh, because it's a small misdemeanor. Then when you are, you know, in between there, you get the shamu, you get to pick your own shamu, and you get a few whips, what. Yeah. But on this particular day, she brought out the belt, the leather belt. And you know, when she wears this belt with her jeans, everything is fine. You don't have any problems with this particular belt when she's wearing it with her jeans. But on this day, gosh, the belt was brought out. And we were beaten. We were beaten to a pulp. And she said, one day we'll understand. And now looking back, I understand. Like, why are you waving a Barbie doll to a man who doesn't have... Well, now this is just me being deep with it. Like, this man, and now you're waving a naked doll at him. What exactly are you trying to do, you young little girls? But at the time, I really didn't know, and I just felt so angry that it's a doll, it's harmless. But yeah, I get it. I get what she was trying to make us not do later in life. I understood it eventually as I grew older. But yeah, corporal punishment. That's the end of that story, by the way. And I think I also told a story about the other time when I was beaten. The last time I got beaten when with the boyfriend story, when I was in Form 3 and I was 15, and she found out about my boyfriend. If you haven't watched that story, please go back to a few, I think it's along the Christmas stories. I'll put a link to the story somewhere there, and you can see the story. But yeah, that's that's the last time I got beaten with the belt anyway, or ever in my life, because I didn't cry then. I used to cry all the time. So yeah, corporal punishment. I'm very skeptical about it, and I don't know, when I become a parent, how will I react to my kids? Mischief, you know, how am I going to react to it? My husband, we've spoken about it, and he's like, people need to get spanked, people need to get beaten when they are naughty. But and obviously the Bible says spare the rod and, you know, spoil your child. But I'm conflicted in the sense of sparing. Does the rod necessarily immediately mean shamu, or does the rod mean punishment, or what? So if you are a parent, or if you are a prospective parent, I'm sure in your life you have seen some naughty children who you know and have just seen, you know, you can just tell that this child has never ever been beaten in their lives. How do you feel about that? And I'm when I become a parent, I don't know, I think I'm going to be the kind of parent who's going to be so annoyed with bad behavior. And I don't think I'll be able to stand kids who, and I still can't, but I'll have, when I have my own kids, that's when I'll know, because everyone will be says, yeah, you have your own kids and then you know, wow. But yeah, please tell me, are you for the notion of corporal punishment or not? This is something I'm just going to leave in the comment section. Thank you so much for joining me again. And like I said, I'm not going to wait for me to be at home to make videos anymore, because my life is very up and downy. Wherever I get the chance, I'm going to make a video. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Please help me be consistent with my vlogging, because it's something I love doing, but it's something that I think I don't have enough time for. But I love it. I love it. I love telling stories. And by the way, I did say that I'd like to tell your stories. So if you have any fun stories to tell, let's start with stories about corporal punishment. What's the beating you will never forget? The day you got beaten. Yeah, that one beating you'll never forget. What had you done when you got that beating? Please tell me that story, whether in the comment section or I'll put a WhatsApp number and you can text me the story on WhatsApp. Tell me the story of the day you will never forget when you got a beating, the beating of your life, if you ever got any, or if you witnessed somebody get beaten. Anyway, until next time, guys, I love you and see you next week. By the way, I hope you are coming to the album launch, because I'll be there. I'll be enjoying life. I hope you too.